Rubber burning engine screaming, it's a madhouse. Hypershift racing, every driver wild and riled out. Peacemaker broadcast, a crowd tuned in tight, watching steel beasts fight under stadium lights. Pedal to the floor, we ain't pumping no brake. Speed demons in the zone, leaving fire in their wake. On the edge of chaos, ain't no room to fake. Peacemaker screens lit for the glory we take. Tires spinning rhythm, a dangerous ballet. Hypershift gladiators in an asphalt ballet. Drafting on the curves, it's a calculated gamble. One wrong move leaves your dreams dismantled. Crowd roaring, engines roaring, echoes break the sky. Broadcast live for the legends who never fear to fly. Checker flags beckon, it's the road we obey. Adrenaline profits, in the fast lane we stay. Pedal to the floor, we ain't pumping no brakes. Speed demons in the zone, leaving fire in their wake. On the edge of chaos, ain't no room to fake. Peacemaker screens lit for the glory we take. Pedal to the floor, we ain't pumping no brakes. Speed demons in the zone, leaving fire in their wake. On the edge of chaos, ain't no room to fake. Peacemaker screens lit for the glory we take. Time spinning rhythm, a tempo, the glory we take. Time spinning rhythm, a tempo, the glory we take. Tire spinning rhythm, a dangerous ballet. Hypershift gladiators in an asphalt ballet. Drafted on the curves, it's a calculated gamble. One wrong move leaves your dreams dismantled. Crowd roaring, engines roaring, echoes break the sky. Broadcast live for the legends who never fear to fight. Checker flags beckon, it's the road we obey. Adrenaline profits, in the fast lane we stay. Pistons pump like heartbeats, it's mechanical insanity. Hypershift warriors bending physics with calamity. Peacemaker feeds a frenzy to every fan's delight. When the lead's in the zone, it's a glorious fight. Pedal to the floor, we ain't pumping no brakes. Speed demons in the zone, leaving fire in their wake. On the edge of chaos, ain't no room to fake. Peacemaker screens lit for the glory we take. Time spinning rhythm, the glory we take. Time spinning rhythm, the glory we take.
Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in. As we get ready to rumble, we get ready to rock and roll here from the beautiful Charlotte Motor Speedway. As it is the Hypershift Racing League back in action here this afternoon for the Wounded Warrior Project 250. Is the Wounded Warrior Project absolutely amazing organization? If you haven't already, we posted in both of the chats over there on Facebook and over on YouTube, the link over there to the Wounded Warrior Racing Project. Make sure you guys head over there and show them some love, man, and check out all the amazing things that they were doing to help all of the amazing veterans in the USA and around the world. As each and every one of these drivers out there showing their support here this afternoon, as it is the amazing Memorial Day weekend race here with the Hypershift Racing League, meaning that it's a little bit longer of a race, a little bit more laps, a little bit more action out there on the speedway, and that's going to give these drivers an extra little chance out there to try to figure out this racetrack, where they need to be, what they need to do to try to put themselves up and into victory lane. As Hey, it's Kev says, sup, big dog, what's up, Kev? How are you, brother? Coming in, showing the love here in this one. Gavin Grubb says, lap down racing on top. Drew King is about to put down a heater, he says. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Drew King definitely had a decent lap time up there for a little bit, but has now fallen all the way back into about the 19th position. Definitely not where he wants to be. Definitely not where a lot of these drivers want to be here today. As Sean O'Keefe says, number 36, let's go to the top of the charts. He says, oh baby, top of the charts maybe for that 36 ride, as right now it's Dalton Wicker with the quick time here in qualifying. Anthony Ludi in second. This 48 ride of JJ Moore, he sits in position number 3, but now we'll get slid back into 4th is Scott Shive in that podium number 81 ride. Shive jumps up into position number 3 out there on the speedway. So Shive, JJ Moore, and Al Likens are top 5. Now into 6 is this number 51 ride of Zach Wilson. Corey Dent back there in 7th with Jeremiah Nelson, Brian Fine, and Michael Sheffield right now rounding out our top 10. Dylan Picklesheimer, Chase Abel, Kent Mueller, Justin Hendry, and Gage Wenzel are top 15 here in qualifying with Max Koss, Michael Carter, Jonathan Cogswell, James Hudson, Daryl Johnson, Drew King, Adam Boughton. Bringing up the rear of the field is Chris Zofeld, still yet to qualify. He's jumping out there onto the racetrack right now, looking to try to lay down a great lap time here in the beautiful Mega, the Make America Great Again Wounded Warrior Project. Number 11 right out there on the speedway. We've yet to see Tyler Chronister or Brad Fulham get out there and qualify here this evening, and unfortunately for them, they will not get an opportunity to qualify here today, as here we go, ready to rock and roll. As Haynes Kev says, Xfinity broke my main water line. Laugh out loud. What? How did Xfinity, an internet company, break your main water line? Were they digging like an underground tunnel or something, an underground line for the fiber optics or something? They had to be doing something like that. It must have hit like the main water line out in front of the house or something, because that is crazy. That's absolutely wild, and that sucks, man. Normally the internet companies themselves just kind of let themselves down. Now they're letting down the infrastructure of your community as well. That's brutal. That is brutal. Here we go. It is time to shine as drivers ready to rock and roll. They're ready to go to battle here in this one, as Hayes Gibson came home from work today and they broke the main water line for my entire apartment complex. That is brutal. That is brutal, man. That's brutal. I don't know how many people live in that apartment complex, but I'm assuming it's a few hundred, maybe even 1,000 people, and all of a sudden now they got no water, but hopefully their internet is good. Hopefully they at least got one thing accomplished before wrecking another thing out there, as these drivers going to get ready to roll out onto the racetrack. As there it is, the Gary Sinise Foundation. Hoping I'm saying that right there. The 77 of Dalton Wicker. Out in front, has that pole position here in that Gary Sinise Foundation number 77 ride. To his outside is the number 95 of Anthony Ludi. Ludi in that Wounded Warrior Project 95 ride rolls there in position number 2. Scott Shive in the beautiful podium number 81 strolls there in third with JJ Moore to his outside. Rounding out our top 5 in the always a beautiful Napa Auto Parts number 9 ride, it is Mr. Al Likens rounding out our top 5. Zach Wilson there in 6 with Corey Dent, Jeremiah Nelson, Michael Sheffield in the 57 of Brian Fine rounding out our top 10. Chase Abel, the 45 of Dylan Picklesheimer. Then we see Justin Hendry, Max Koss, Kent Mueller, Jonathan Cogswell, Gage Wenzel. They're in the 15th position with Daryl Johnson, Jonathan Cogswell, Michael Carter, James Hudson, Adam Boughton back there in looks like to be about the 22nd position. Drew King down to his inside. Brad Fulham, Tyler Chronister, and bringing up the rear of the field back in 25th. It is Chris Zofeld. Zofeld at the back of the pack here in this one, as we will end all the anticipation with our feature presentation here in this one. Green flag quickly out into the air for Dalton Wicker as the Wounded Warrior Project 250 is underway. And quickly the 77 ride will lead us down and out of corner number 2 here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Now, Charlotte, such a beautiful racetrack, such a fun racetrack. We're going to see a ton of door-to-door, 2-wide, 3-wide, maybe even a little 4-wide action out there on the racetrack. Now, we can see very good long green flag runs, and we can also see a lot of quick caution flags out there on the speedway as well. We ran a race here in our Sunday night series and our Monday night series. Neither of those races went very well. They went a little bit rough. They had a lot of caution flags, a lot of tore up race cars. We're really hoping that tonight is going to be a turn of the tables here in this one, and hoping that the Hypershift Racing League guys can make us feel comfy again and happy to be back at Charlotte. As when I saw we were headed back to Charlotte here earlier today, I was definitely a little bit not upset. I wouldn't want to say upset. I was definitely a little bit nervous as we watched two bad races there. I was thinking, man, this could be another one, but I have a sneaky suspicion that these Hypershift Racing League drivers are going to give us one hell of a show here this evening. As Dalton Wicker out in front, he leads the way here with Anthony Ludi right there behind him. J.J. Moore there in third, Zach Wilson and Jeremiah Nelson rounding out our top five. Michael Sheffield early on in this beautiful number one ride. He's worked himself up quite a bit of ways as the Higher Heroes USA Wounded Warrior Project number one ride rolls there in that sixth position. Right now up 4 spots, one of the hard chargers out there on the racetrack. Corey Dink, another one of those beautiful Gary Sinai's foundation rides. I'm hoping I'm still saying that right. I'm probably getting it wrong. I do apologize. But Corey rolls there in 7th. Scott Shive, unfortunately, falling back 5 spots early on. He now sits back there in about the 9th position. 6 positions now behind as Al Likens able to get around him. Al's down 3 spots from the start of this race with Brian Fine there in 10th. Chase Abel up into 11th. Dylan Bigglesheimer, Justin Hendry, Gage Wenzel, Max Goss. Look at all these drivers, man. You can throw a blanket over them. Still running door to door. It's elbows up racing here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Everybody trying to find that gear. Everyone trying to find that edge to try to put themselves out in front. That's it. This is going to be a long one. This is going to be a very, very long race. 167 laps. A little bit longer than what we normally run here on a regular Thursday night. As Christina says, get it number 36, cheered on that 36 ride. And Skip says, need some good racing to take my mind off of it. We got you, baby. We got you, brother. As Emma says, let's go Gage. Kel says, Gary Sinai's Foundation. He is an actor that played Lieutenant Dan from Forrest Gump. Oh my gosh, okay, that's dope. He donates a lot to the veterans. That is absolutely amazing. I absolutely love that. That is awesome. Lieutenant Dan. Lieutenant Dan, I got you some ice cream, Lieutenant Dan. Let's go, Gage, says Linda. Stephanie says, come on, Gage, I know this is your race. Let's get that dub, she says. Let's get that dub. And we'll be watching to see all these drivers, how they're going to be able to move forward and tackle this racetrack. Definitely a tricky one, a tough one. And as you can see, it gets fairly tough to pass around here. You got to take big runs. You got to hope for other drivers to run into issues and have that door open for you to make that move. As here you go, you do see that 36 ride right now with Gage Wenzel. He's looking to make the move around the 81 of Scott Shive. Unfortunately for Shive, early on in this race, he is falling like a rock out there on the racetrack. Now down 12 positions, potentially going to go down 13 spots if the 36 ride can make this move around him. And look at the beautiful new paint scheme here on that Tom's Tasty Taters and Walleye Fish Sandwiches number 36 ride. The beautiful American flag ride here this evening, looking absolutely sharp out there on the racetrack. We're loving that. That is a absolutely stand out and very beautiful paint scheme out there on the speedway. So many of these drivers sporting new paint schemes, whether or not they're just the red, white, and blue for supporting our troops, or whether it's got some of our amazing sponsors on there, like we see with Anthony Ludi and that Wounded Warrior Project 95 ride. Still sporting the red, white, and blue here this evening, and an amazing foundation, and that is our main sponsor. That's our race title here this evening, the Wounded Warrior Project 250 here this evening. As ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you haven't already, make sure you guys go over and show some love there to the Wounded Warrior Project.org over there and check out all the amazing things that they are doing to help support and continue to make things better for all of our troops year after year after year. Man, can't shout them out enough for being on board with us as our main sponsor here this evening. Is Joshua Neal coming in with the like on the stream. What's good, Joshua? Joshua coming in with that thumbs up over there on Facebook. Dimitri Curtis, Frank Michael Deacon, Tony J. Ludi, all coming in with those thumbs up here on the stream. Hypershift with that like and the share. 213 Simware also coming in with that like and the share as well here on the broadcast. As all these drivers, man, already put on a heck of a show for us. A lot of good hard green flag racing out there on the speedway, and for each and every one of these drivers looking to try to put themselves up and into victory lane. But right now it's Dalton Wicker who hangs on to the race lead, but it may not be for long, as there goes Anthony Ludi down to the inside. Ludi will take that Wounded Warrior Project number 95 right to the point here at Charlotte. So Anthony Ludi able to move out in front and steal this lead away from Dalton Wicker. Wicker slides back now into position number 2, but he says he's not done yet. He's going to battle back down to the inside. Look, trying to take this race lead back away. Door to door out at corner number 4. It's still that 95 right of Anthony Ludi who's able to lead us here at Charlotte. Wicker still battling down to his inside, and here comes Michael Sheffield. Sheffield now up and into position number 3 here on the Speedway. That 51 is Zach Wilson rolling back there in position number 4. J.J. Moore there in the 5th spot here in this one with Brian Fine, Justin Hendry, Corey Denk, Dylan Picklesheimer, and Daryl Johnson are top 10 on the racetrack. Al Likens falling all the way back 6 spots. Now has that Napa Auto Parts number 9 ride rolling in the 11th position with Tyler Chronister. Chronister early in this race, the Walmart American Flag paint scheme ride. He is now up 11 spots on the racetrack here. Actually just fell back another spot, so he's back into 13th, up 10 spots from where he started as the Tom Stacy Taters ride. That 36 of Gage Wenzel able to work himself around him, and Wenzel now up and into position number 12. As tires could play a major factor in tonight's race. Drivers trying to hang back a little bit, try to save those tires a little early on in this race. Now going to try to make some moves out here as other drivers start to struggle a little bit. Their cars start to fade out and they start to fall back. These guys that were saving a little bit early on could start storming up in through the field. When you look back there and look at some of those drivers that kind of weren't really on the gas pedal quickly here on the Speedway and fell back a little bit, you look back at drivers like Al Likens, like this at number 17 at Corey Denk. Even if you look back at Gage Wenzel, Wenzel didn't really start picking his way through the field here until the last few laps, so Wenzel could have been saving there for that first 10, 12 laps out there on the Speedway, just trying to wait and bide his time to try to drive to the front of the field. Other drivers that have continued to fall back and unfortunately having a rough go. It says 81. Excuse me, the 81 of Scott Shive. Shive started up in position number 3 here this evening. Started in that 3rd spot and quickly in this race fell back through the field and now sits back in 23rd. He's in that 23rd position. He's about 11 seconds back of our race leaders, and unfortunately if we continue to see them stay clean and green, could potentially go a lap or multiple laps down in a quick hurry. As Adam Boughton Evo out there on the racetrack in that Wounded Warrior Project 94 ride. Unfortunately there for Adam Boughton, he did have to make a pass-through penalty in the opening laps, and unfortunately as he came down pit side, he ended up giving up a lap out there on the racetrack. So he has now went a lap down. He is now no longer on the lead lap, needs that caution flag, needs to get that lucky dog and the ability to get back into this battle here this evening as Jeremiah Nelson. Jeremiah unfortunately ran into some issues here as well as the Monster Energy Wounded Warrior Project number 35 ride all of a sudden back in 25th, and he has multiple laps down out there on the racetrack, and this is a tough break there for that number 35 ride. He's back about 6 laps or so behind our race leaders, and that is not the spot you want to be out there on the Speedways. That's going to be very, very tough to be able to figure out a way to try to find their way to the front of the field. As Sean O'Keefe says, to the front we go, cheering on that 36 rider, Gage Wenzel, as my boy Aaron Bowman, the showman. What's good, Ron? Aaron coming in showing the love, says always action-packed when you're on the mic. Brother, I appreciate that. We appreciate that, my boy coming in. Show the love here in this one, and that's the way we like it. Nothing but action-packed, non-stop, green flag racing, battling, elbows up, door to door, and nose to tail out there on the racetrack. And is out in front, Anthony Ludi able to try to stretch out that race lead. Got a couple car lengths in between him and Dalton Wicker as Wicker continues to try to hold on to position number 2. J.J. Moore now up and into third. Excuse me, he's up into third out there on the speedway. That 48 ride moving his way up towards the front here. He was another one of those drivers that kind of just stalled out early in this run, kind of just hung out there in about that 4th, 5th position, allowed a few drivers to get around him, but now battling up into third here. He's looking to see if he can use that little bit better tire and maybe navigate his way to the front of the field. Now you do see Anthony Ludy starting to move around a little bit more. Dalton Wicker rolling right back to his rear bumper, and Wicker looking to try to take this run and work himself back in front of the field here in this one, but I don't know. These guys are going to have a hard time holding off this 48 ride. Here he comes to the front of the field. Dylan Picklesheimer, he's now up and into position number 7. Him and Brian Fine both starting to reel in these drivers and starting to join this battle at the front of the field. Gage Wenzel now into position number 9 here. He's right in behind that beautiful 17 ride as the Gary Sinai's number 17 ride rolls there in the 8th position. Al Likens back there in 9th, and we'll see these drivers continue to duke it out and battle their way up towards the front of the field. Is already 23 laps done in this race. 23 laps already off to the board here, but there is still a ton of racing left to go. There is still a ton of time for drivers to try to navigate their way to the front, potentially green flag pit stops just around the corner, and for these drivers, that is a big, big question mark. Green flag pit stops here at Charlotte, they're no easy task. We tend to see quite a few green flag pit stops go wrong out there on the racetrack, whether or not it's missing pit lane, spinning out, trying to get down pit road, or potentially even just speeding down pit lane themselves. And if you're caught speeding down pit road, it comes with major penalties here. Whether or not it's a 45-second hold down there in your pit stall or potentially a pass-through penalty. Either way, it's probably going to put you a lap down out there on the racetrack, and it's always tough trying to get these laps back. Even if you're at the front of the field, even if you're the race leader, it's not going to take much, and one speeding penalty could potentially take you out of this race. Now, early on is when you want these issues, not later in the races. If you have one of those penalties late in the race, good luck trying to battle back into contention after that. But early on, you're going to have a couple mistakes. Hopefully not anything major like that, but it is doable. We have seen it done before, and we may see it again here tonight. Is out in front, able to take that race lead away. We knew it wasn't going to be long before we saw him take that race lead, hang it back a little earlier on in this race, trying to save a little bit of that tire, trying to keep that car pointing in the right direction, and the 48 of J.J. Moore now jumps out in front and consumes that race lead. Already about half a second between himself and Anthony Ludy. As Ludy rolls there in position number 2, Dalton Wicker right there with them. They got a bit of a gap back to our 4th place driver, who's now the number 45 of Dylan Picklesheimer. Picklesheimer now into that 4th spot with Zach Wilson there in 5th, and here comes Gage Wenzel. Wenzel looking to try to race his way up inside the top 5 here this evening. Same with the likes of Al Likens, as Al right back up into this fight here. Fell back quite a few positions early in the race, just trying to save those tires, and now here he is racing his way back up into 7th, and he's not done just yet. He's looking to continue to keep on marching his way up and through the field, as we do see Gage Wenzel jump up inside the top 5 after making the pass around that 51 of Zach Wilson. Yes, we do see Kent Mueller up there as well. Beautiful looking ride there for Mr. Mueller this afternoon, as the American Legion B1 ride rolling out there on the racetrack in position number 10. Jonathan Cogswell in that beautiful 44 Farms number 84 ride rolls there in position number 11 with the Gearhead 54 ride there in 12th. Michael Carter back there in the Wounded Warrior Project run. We see a couple of them right there as the 18 of Michael Carter in the number 4 machine, battling there with them in that beautiful Bush Latte ride. The American Eagle machine rolls there in position number 14. Chase Abel right there as well, as you do see that 94 ride. Unfortunately here early on in this race, having to make that pass-through penalty. Adam Bounton is a lap down, and now we do see Chris Zofeld also going a lap down. Now Zofeld came down pit road there on lap number 27, so making an early pit stop. One of the earliest drivers to come down pit road here for their first stop of the day. stay. Now we do see Michael Sheffield also down pit side. Now Sheffield has quite a bit of damage here on the Higher Heroes USA #1 machine, and unfortunately looks like he's got some pretty heavy right front damage and some pretty good rear end damage on that #1 machine, and looks like he may be down pit side for an extended period of time here this evening. As Gage Wenzel continues to try to work his way into the front of the field, he has now worked himself around Dylan Picklesheimer. Picklesheimer now back into position #6, and again outside of our top 5 here this evening. As J.J. Moore continues to lead the way. Moore out in front. Dalton Wicker now into second with Anthony Ludy back there in position #3. He's trying to hold on to that third spot as Gage Wenzel and Al Likens and the rest of the field try to hunt down our top 3 out there on the speedway. As, man, this has been some absolutely amazing racing action as my boy Ross Harold. Ross coming in with that like on the stream. How are you, Ross? Ross coming in, showing the big love here with the thumbs up over there on the Facebook stream. As ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you haven't already, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that follow and subscribe button, and man, give it up for all these drivers, your favorite drivers out there on the racetrack, man. Give them a round of applause right now and cheer them on in the comment section as they are absolutely tearing up this racetrack. They were laying down some absolutely amazing lap times here this evening, already seeing 33 laps being completed out there on the racetrack, man. This is some great battles, some great racing, a lot of good hard green flag battles out there on the racetrack, and that's exactly what we want to see. Nothing but good hard racing fun here this evening, and each and every one of these drivers giving us the show that we all wanted to see here this evening in the Hypershift Racing League. As the Wounded Warrior Project 250 so far off to an absolutely perfect start to the evening, definitely making our Thursdays that much better as Dalton Wicker once again going to race his way back out in front, working himself back around J.J. Moore. Moore going to slide back into position #2 as Wicker reconsumes that race lead, and for the W Energy hoist ride, he's going to slide back now into second, and here comes Gage Wenzel right down low, moving himself around the 95 right of Anthony Ludy. Ludy will fall back into position #4 in that 36 machine of Gage Wenzel now up inside our top 3. Al Likens right there in 5th with Dylan Picklesheimer, Brian Fine, Corey Dankin, Zach Wilson back there in 9th. Jonathan Cogswell trying to hang on to position #10 as the 8 rider Kent Mueller trying to take it away from him. Here we see Michael Carter right there behind them as Chase Abel, that beautiful noble American #7 ride, rolling there in position #13. We see Justin Hendry and Daryl Johnson rounding out our top 15 here in this one. As Hans Kemp says, hoping I can have a good race Sunday. Wyatt won't be there. He's at the Real Charlotte this weekend. Oh, baby, that's got to be a blast, man. The Real Charlotte, being at the home of NASCAR, being able to, take that trip down the road and being able to, see some of these shops and see, some of the history here in Charlotte with all these amazing clubs all being basically their home base right here just down the road from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. And for all these drivers, man, it's going to be a lot of fun being back kind of on a home surface. And obviously there's the Kyle Larson issue, the Kyle Larson problem here this weekend. Everyone's going to be thinking about what they need to do and how they need to beat that beautiful #5 ride here this Sunday, in which it's going to be another absolutely insane race, man. It's going to be awesome to watch once again Kyle Larson compete in the Indianapolis 500, but then to be able to watch him battle again in the NASCAR Cup Series and that Coke 600 as well. Man, it's going to be a lot of fun to see what they're going to be able to do and if he's going to be able to pull it off here and win both of those races, or even just get solid top 5s in both of those races. I think is going to be that impressive. As Haynes Kemps is hoping I can go soon. Got family close by. Gotta see the Hall of Fame. Yeah, 100%. I haven't seen it yet. My parents went down. They saw it there a few years ago, and they seem to have a really good time. It was a lot of really cool things, and it would be really cool to go see that, see all the history and everything else, and being inches away from it, man, and seeing those cars up close and personal has always been a dream of mine. So we'll hope to see it one of these days in our future. As out in front, trying to take that race lead. It is that 36 of Gage Wenzel, and it looks like Wenzel is going to take that race lead. So the 36 ride from 15th to 1st out there on the racetrack. Down across the line, lap number 40 will be led by the Tom's Tasty Taters and Walleye Fish Sandwiches number 36 machine. As Gage Wenzel leads this race, everyone else back there in tow, and we've yet to see a lot more drivers head down pit road, but here we go. We see that 48 of J.J. Moore, the 45 of Dylan Picklesheimer. They're down pit road. Unfortunately for Michael Sheffield, he's still down here, man. Still has that damage on the one ride. Unfortunately, looks like his night may be done, but you do see the 48 and the 45 both making those early pit stops. Now we're going to see a few more drivers head down pit road as this will start our first wave of green flag pit stops. As here comes Brian Fine, here comes Zach Wilson down pit road here. So a bunch of drivers going to make these pit stops. You also see Justin Hendry, the 4-rider Daryl Johnson headed down pit side, looking to get that Busch Latte ride cleaned up, fixed up, some fresh tires on it, some fuel in the tank, and continue to keep on rolling. As right now, out in front, leading this race, it's still that 36 of Gage Wenzel, our top 15. Yet to come back down pit road here. So our top 15 still rolling out there, trying to hit maybe a little bit of different number, trying to play a little bit different strategy out there on the speedway. Is what we're going to do as this next time by the start finish line. We're going to jump on board here with this 36 and give you guys a ride around the beautiful Charlotte Motor Speedway here on board with Gage Wenzel, our race leader. Alrighty, there is a lap around Charlotte from the cockpit here of that 36 ride, giving you a great view of what it takes to navigate your way around this racetrack. Let's see if we can get another look at it here. There we go, the chase view. And you can really see these cars and how they settle into these corners and how these corners are really shaped and where you need to kind of move and how quickly these guys are zooming through these corners. And this part right here, the corner exits here at Charlotte, always so tricky. And then it's kind of like this front straightaway kind of has two separate little turns its own out there on the racetrack. So really it's got 4 corners, but this track almost races like it's got 6 out there with that tri-oval and those tight turns there down through the start finish line, and it makes things very, very difficult for a lot of drivers. As here we go, we do see this battle at the front of the field looking like it's going to rage on. It's the 9 ride of Al Likens. Likens making the move down low will steal that race lead away from Gage Wenzel. Wenzel will slide back to second as Al Likens jumps out in front. We now see the 77 ride of Dalton Wicker heading down pit side. We see Max Koss, Drew King, Tyler Chronister also down pit road here as things are starting to cycle around. Drivers starting to make themselves a trip down pit road, and right now it's Chris Zofeld. Zofeld who leads a lot of these drivers that have already been down pit side. Unfortunately, he came down pit road about 12, 13, 14 laps sooner than a lot of these other drivers, and now he's got a lot worse tires where he was able to leapfrog them, gain a ton of track position and track time in this strategy, but unfortunately very, very fast cars back here behind him. That is that 57 of Brian Fine trying to battle right through him and going to make the move right on and around that beautiful number 11 machine. Unfortunately, he's got nothing left in the tank to try to battle there for what could have been our race lead once this kind of cycles through. As we do see Al Likens. Al has taken his 9 ride down pit side, so Al Likens making his green flag pit stop, and we only got about 8 drivers left out there that have yet to come down pit road. Actually, I'm going to say about 7. Wenzel, Anthony Ludi, the number 84 of Jonathan Cogswell, Chase Abel, Kent Mueller, Michael Carter, Adam Belton, yet to come down pit side here. So 7 drivers yet to make those green flag pit stops. Unfortunately for the 94 of Adam Belton, he is still a lap down out there on the speedway. But Gage Wenzel about to come down pit road. There goes the 94. He will be back onto the lead lap for this split moment in time, and hoping to see a quick caution flag and allowing all these other drivers to stay back there behind him and for him to get that lap back as Wenzel down pit road, same with Anthony Ludi and that 7 of Chase Abel. As out in front, it's now the 84 of Jonathan Cogswell. So Cogswell consumes that race lead here in this one with Kent Mueller and Michael Carter rounding out our top 3 out there on the racetrack, as Kinnard says money on Picklesheimer. Money on Picklesheimer, he says. Picklesheimer definitely looking good. Played that a little bit of strategy. Came down a little bit sooner than a lot of these other drivers down pit side, and they should have been able to use those good tires here, leapfrog a lot of these cats, and put themselves potentially into the race lead here as we get rolling out there. We do see Jonathan Cogswell now down pit side. Kent Mueller also down pit road. Here comes Michael Carter as well. So these guys made it to virtually lap number 50 here this evening. So 50 laps down, 50 laps into the history books here today, as Brian Fine looking to race his way back onto the lead lap and going to take that race lead away, as Brian Fine now out in front of the field. So Brian Fine out in front with Dylan Picklesheimer back there in position number 2. Chris Zofeld there in 3rd, and then we see the 77 of Dalton Wicker. He's in position number 4. Zach Wilson back there in 5th with Corey Dank, Al Likens, Justin Hendry, Gage Wenzel and Darrell Johnson are top 10 out there on the speedways. Jonathan Cogswell rolls back in position number 11. Cogswell was one of the last drivers, the final drivers, to make their way down pit side for those green flag pit stops. Brandon Belton, unfortunately, he did have to come down pit road there himself, and he will stay a lap down out there on the racetrack. James Hudson, unfortunately, also now down a lap as well. Scott Schott making another trip down pit lane here in the 81 ride. Potentially some pit road speeding penalties for the 81. Looks like he is going to still make that stop down pit road here. So I'm not sure if maybe just a mistake down pit side, maybe a loose wheel, or potentially not getting this thing as filled with fuel as what he wanted. But he is now parked down pit road and unfortunately going multiple laps down again here this evening. Same issue with the 48 ride of J.J. Moore. J.J. now multiple laps down as well. He was one of those drivers that has led this race, was battling up inside our top 5 for majority of this run, but had that pit road speeding penalty as well, and unfortunately had to come back down pit road and serve that penalty. And unfortunately for the number 48 run, he is now at least 2 laps down out there on the speedway, as Brian Fine out in front continues to lead the way. He's got about 2.2 seconds between himself and Dylan Picklesheimer. Picklesheimer there in position number 2 with Dalton Winker tracking him down, and Zach Wilson right there in 4th. Al Likens up inside the top 5 here once again as he battles down low and around Corey Dank, as these two duke it down and across the line. Still some absolutely great racing action here this evening. These drivers putting on a absolutely amazing show for us out there on the speedway, man. A lot of great racing, a lot of back and forth, and a lot of great battles out there on the racetrack here in this one. As money on Picklesheimer, says Kennard. Yeah, definitely not a bad bet. Definitely not a bad bet. If you're going to put money on one of these guys, Picklesheimer always one of those safer bets to be able to pull out a good parlay or a good solid top 5, top 10 run. Definitely a very fast cat out there on the speedways. We continue to see them battle, continue to see this 9 right about Lycan trying to race his way back up to the race lead, as he had the race lead before making that green flag pit stop back on lap number 47. Now for a lot of these drivers in front of him, like Dylan Picklesheimer, he's got about 7 lap better tires than the 45. He's got 6 lap better tires than Brian Fine. For Dalton Wicker came down pit road on lap 46, and he's already been able to make the move, catch that 45 of Dylan Picklesheimer, and put Picklesheimer back there behind him, and Wicker is trying to hunt down our race leader here in a quick hurry. The gap is just about 1.8 seconds down this back straightaway, but lap after lap after lap, he's been about 2 tenths quicker than this 57. So Brian Fine with that pit strategy able to lead some laps right now, but for how long will he be able to hang on to it? How long will he be able to keep himself out in front and keep the rest of these drivers back there at bay? As we inch closer and closer to that lap 67 marker, meaning that we're about 67 laps into this race and about 100 laps left to go here in this one. And man, this has been a heck of a show so far, man. 58 laps, and there's the caution flag. Oh no, caution flag is out for the first time here this evening. Oh, brother. Uh-oh, here we go. This is what could get things started here this evening. As let's take a look back and see what happens. Looks like Chase Abel in that number 63. Max Koss going to get tied together. Koss roll the outside lane. Abel down low. Looks like, I don't know if Abel just comes up and doesn't think that the 63 was going to be there, and unfortunately they get tied together. They get up into the outside fence, and unfortunately that goes takes that 7 right around. Let's take a look here at it as you see the 63 roll in the outside lane here. He's a little bit off the pace. The 7 right down low, and it's going to meet in the middle right there, and unfortunately just wrong place, wrong time, and it just spins that 7 right around, and unfortunately down into the infield, but up and in to that outside fence and earning some pretty good contact there for that noble American number 7 ride, and unfortunately he'll have to go down pit side, try to get it repaired and roll back out there onto the racetrack and see if he can try to navigate his way back up to the front of the field. Well, there goes all that pit strategy as well as all these drivers heading down pit side. We'll have to wait and see. I do believe everyone's probably going to get a full tank of fuel here, but could see some drivers trying to play a little bit dangerously on those tires, whether or not they want to try to save a set of tires or they want to burn a set early on. As you do see that right side getting jacked up for the 57 machine of Brian Fine. Looks like he's going to throw a full 4 set onto this car, and I'm sure we're going to see a few drivers like Ken Mueller going to take that early pit stop here and quickly jump out in front after coming down pit side. I'm not sure he takes that race lead. I don't know if he ended up making a mistake down there and not hitting his pit stall or what may have happened, but doesn't look like he got any service done to that 8 machine, but he is out in front of Brian Fine, Dalton Wicker, Al Likens, Corey Denk, Gage Wenzel there in 7th, Zach Wilson, Justin Hendry, Daryl Johnson, Chris Sofeld. Now our top 11 is Chase Abel still having to go to the rear of the field after bringing out that caution flag and being the cause of that yellow here, as we'll get ready to keep on rocking and rolling. As the B Main podcast says, were we mid-pit cycle? No, we weren't mid-pit cycle. No, it was kind of just after, honestly. We saw a lot of these drivers down pit road, right around that 40 lap to, 50 lap area. They kind of came down in groups there of 2 or 3, maybe 4 cars at a time. So there was really a lot of different drivers on that different pit strategy, whether it was lap 40, 41, 42. We saw some down pit road, even back towards lap 43, 46, 47. Even saw a few down 49 and lap 50 there. So really not too many laps under the green flag conditions before we saw that yellow flag come back out for a lot of these drivers. So it was kind of like right in the middle of that cycle right there. There was probably some drivers that didn't really need those tires only after 5 or 6 laps of green flag racing. So it's going to be interesting. 10-4, I just rejoined. Let's go. The B Main podcast will welcome back in. It's the action nonstop here in this one, and already 60 laps into the history books here this evening, and that's going to make things that much more fun, that much more interesting here as we'll get these drivers all locked and loaded, ready to go back to green flag racing. So it's a all track reset, everyone back together, everyone knows to tail out there on the speedway, and we get ready for one of the crazy Charlotte Motor Speedway restarts here this evening, as this is our first restart of the evening, as we've seen it go clean and green there for virtually the first 56, 57 laps of this race before that first caution flag, and now we're quickly going right back to the green flag here in this one, as Chase Abel, Brian Fine, 1 and 2 on the speedways. I don't know how Chase Abel ended up with a race lead. He was one of the drivers that brought out that caution flag, but not coming down pit side, staying out rolling on the racetrack, and he now finds himself at the front of the field. He was one of those drivers that came down pit road on lap 49, so not necessarily a ton of laps or anything else on the 7 ride, but definitely going to be a lot less than everybody else. As here we go, back to green flag racing, and down low you quickly see Dalton Wicker making that move, and he's able to shoot the gap down the bottom side, move quickly around Brian Fine and around that 7 rider Chase Abel, and unfortunately for Abel, he's about to find out what these fresh tires can do compared to even 6-7 lap old tires out there on the speedway. As he gets consumed and quickly falls back outside our top 5 on the racetrack as Daryl Johnson works down to his inside. Gage Wenzel right there ready to strike as well. That beautiful 36 machine as Dalton Wicker, though, out in front. Wicker takes that race lead back away, and again looking to try to open up a bit of a lead between himself and that 57 of Brian Fine. His teammate Corey Dent KD right there in position number 3 is Wenzel able to hang on to 4th here. Gage Wenzel up into 5th, Justin Hendry there in 6th. Tyler Gronis 3rd, Daryl Johnson unfortunately sliding all the way back into about the 9th position now as Al Likens rolls around him, and here comes Jonathan Cogswell and Chris Sofield in a quick hurry as Michael Carter there in position number 12, Drew King, Anthony Ludi, Brand Fulham, our top 15 out there on the speedway. And these drivers are going to continue to keep on battling hard. Every single one of them elbows up racing, and for Anthony Ludi being back here all the way back in about that 15th, 14th position. Not the place he wanted that Wounded Warrior Project 95 ride to be. After being out in front, leading some laps here this evening and battling for that race lead. And instead of pit cycles, unfortunately shuffled his 95 ride a little bit deeper in the field. And now he's going to have to try to figure out a way to get back up there towards the front of the pack. As Dalton Wicker, though, out in front, continue to hang on to this race lead, but right there behind him is that 57 rider Brian Fine. Fine not letting him run away with it, sticking right there to the back bumper of the 77, and it's starting to bring the rest of the field back to their rear bumpers. Here comes KD Corey Denk. They're in position number 3 out there on the speedway. Now they got a little bit of a gap between themselves and our 4th place driver, Gage Wenzel. Wenzel up and into position number 4 and looking for more with Justin Hendry and Tyler Gronister. They're in 6. Chase Abel, Al Lankin, Jonathan Cogswell, and Daryl Johnson are top 10 out there on the racetrack, putting together a heck of a show, a heck of a race for us here in this one as Wicker continues to lead the way. About 8 car length here between our 1st and 2nd place driver, and now with that pit strategy kind of getting broken up there a little bit more, we're probably going to see drivers try to make it somewhere around that 40 lap area, 40 to 50 laps, probably coming back down pit road around lap number 100 is down across the line. We will click off lap number 67 and we get 100 laps of racing action left to go here in this one. 100 laps of battling here late in this race for each and every one of these drivers. That's still a ton of time to try to recover, recoup, and try to race your way back up towards the front of the field. As each and every one of these drivers continue to battle, continue to keep on putting that pressure on and keeping their elbows up out there on the speedway. We'll jump into a quick Peacemaker Gaming Crank It Up. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, crank up that volume and cheer on your favorite drivers. as the caution flag is displayed here in this one. Caution flag back out onto the racetrack here this evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Our second yellow flag of the day will bring a close to our Peacemaker Gaming crank it up. And let's take a look back and see what brings out this caution flag here this evening. As the yellow flag has came out, we'll take a look and see kind of what's happened, where it's happened, and who got collected. As it looks like the number 99 rider Tyler Chronister. Looks like Chronister, unfortunately, looks like he's going to get tied up here in this one. Let's take a look and see what happens here to the number 99. As unfortunately for him, a little bit of contact as he's battling door to door here with the 18 machine, and unfortunately just down the back straightaway into corner number 3, they just get tied together and around goes that 99 ride. Oh man, that's a heartbreaker right there for him. Definitely not the spot that he wanted to be in, as that is definitely not where you want to run into issues. Let's see if we can take another look at it, see what happens here, and see if something else happens this afternoon, as definitely not the way he wanted things to go in this. Let's take a look. Let's see what happens. Let's see how this kind of gets played out, as there's definitely contact down low, and obviously definitely not the spot that you want to have this issue. Is see if we can slow this down a little bit right there. It looks like maybe the 18 kind of comes up just ever so slightly, trying to side draft off of him, and unfortunately just gets him turned around and turned the wrong direction out there on the speedway. That's a tough break right there for him, and definitely not where he wanted to end up. Is our second caution flag of the day, and that's going to allow all these drivers to come back down pit road. Virtually a clean green flag pit stop right there, and definitely exactly what they were looking for. Is all these drivers definitely wanted to head down pit road, definitely wanted to make sure that they got some work in on their cars, got that fuel, got that tires, and got back out there onto the racetrack ready to rumble, ready to go back to green flag racing here in just a few more moments. So these guys are going to go back and duke it out here in just a couple more moments, and each and every one of them will look to try to drive their way up a little closer to the front of the field here, see if they can try to put themselves up and into victory lane here today. Is Dalton Wicker still our race leader out there on the racetrack. Dalton continue to lead the way. This car has been he's been a man with a plan here this evening. He has not held back one little bit this afternoon, and he continues to just keep on racing his way closer and closer to the front of the pack. As we will get him ready to rock and roll, we will get ready to go to battle here in this one. So each and every one of these drivers will get ready to duke it out. Each and every one of them will get ready for another big race. They're out there on the racetrack, and we're not done yet, ladies and gentlemen. We're not even close to being done yet here in this race. There is still a ton of laps, a ton of time, and a ton of things that can happen here this evening. If you run into issues, you want to make sure that you are up and out of the way, and hope that you keep yourself out of that trouble here this afternoon. So here we go. We'll get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to go back to battle. Is nice and easy down and out of corner number 4. We will see that green flag fly here once again this afternoon. So the green flag about to fly here in this one, and drivers about to be unleashed out there on the speedway. This is going to be a lot of fun to see who's going to be able to put themselves into that winning situation, that winning area out there on the speedway. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Oh, this is going to be fun. This is going to be so interesting. It's going to be so fun to see who's going to be able to navigate and put themselves into what could be a big winning move out there on the racetrack. Is all it takes is that one slip up, that one mistake, that one wrong move, and you could be on the outside of a good spot looking in here. And we'll have to wait and see who's going to be able to find that best way around the racetrack, who's going to be able to find the best way to navigate and put themselves into victory lane. As here we go, back to battle, and out in front, it is that 77 rider, Dalton Wicker, hanging on and holding down the fort here at the front of the field, and he is not looking to hang back at all here. He wants to keep on putting his foot in the throttle, keeping these drivers back there at bay, and trying to hold them all off here this evening. But right behind him, Brian Fine, Al Likens, Corey Denk, his teammate back there in position number 4, and looking for more with Adam Belton. They're rounding out our top 5. Belton, one of those drivers drivers that unfortunately had to make a green flag pit stop early in this race. And for Belton, all of a sudden he went to the back of the pack here. He all of a sudden went to the rear of the field, and unfortunately for himself, that took him virtually out of this race. And for quite a little while there, man, this was definitely not the spot that he wanted to be out there on the racetrack. Is just being so far back, just being so far out of it, and being a lap down early in the race. All of a sudden, you know, he was pretty much done here this evening, chat. He was pretty much done. He was pretty much no longer a part of this battle. He got that first caution flag, got that wave around, got that lucky dog, and was able to get back into the battle here this evening. And that's what really opened up the door for him to just kind of race his way right back into this fight here at the front of the field. And ever since then, he has not looked back one little bit. He just continues to keep on picking them up and putting them down out there on the speedway. And man, oh man, he's taking every single little bit that he can out there to try to keep everyone kind of, you know, right in place, right in line, and he's just been picking them off one at a time here in this one. As Michael Scott says, where is your cam and what's happening, brother? What's happening? The cam's just turned off right now. We got the cam turned off. We're just kind of chilling like a villain up here. Long race, just kind of rocking and rolling, going with no cam right now for a little bit, and you know, just enjoying the racing action out there on the racetrack. Here comes that Tom Stacey Tater's ride, looking down to the inside there. I thought for a minute he was going to try to go 3 wide and look to try to take that. I believe this is a battle for about the 4th or 5th position out there on the racetrack here, as Justin Hendry, Al Likens, Corey Dank, Adam Belton kind of all right in this fight, with Gage Wenzel just on the outside looking in. He rolls there in position number 7 on the racetrack. Cogswell, Anthony Ludy, and Michael Carter rounding out our top 10 out there on the speedway. We are far from over here, ladies and gentlemen. It is far from over. Still a lot of time left for drivers to try to make their mind on where they want to go or how they want to put themselves into a position to potentially pick up this win here this evening. So we'll keep an eye on them, see how this one continues. And there it is. There's some contact. Look out. Ludy almost around. We did see Cogswell get a little piece of that one. Adam Belton hard, though, up into the outside fence. Heartbreaker here. Belton, man, that is a heartbreaker out there on the speedway, man. The 94 ride having such a good battle, racing his way back up to the front of the field, and then all of a sudden there's contact, and he gets turned sideways here as the 36 ride. We saw Wenzel try this a couple times, and this time finally gets the big run, gets the groove that he was looking for, tips it down low underneath of the 94 ride. Belton, I don't think, is expecting it, and all of a sudden the door closes right there. They make contact, gets this 94 ride sideways. Here comes Cogswell. Cogswell just going to slide in here. Nowhere for him to go as this 94 parks right in front of him. Anthony Ludy going to get some good contact into that, as well as him and his team make it tied together. Then him and the 84 make a little contact, and that will bring out our 3rd caution flag of the day. So cautions breeding cautions here a little bit, as that was a lot quicker of a caution flag out there on the racetrack. About 9-10 laps before we saw that yellow flag come back out, and now we'll get everyone stacked up, racked up, and are ready to try this one all over again here this evening. We'll get ready to see who can try to find their way up and into victory lane here this evening. Oh, baby, this is going to be a lot of fun. This is going to be very, very fun to watch these guys just continue to duke it out, continue to battle, continue to fight out there on the speedway to try to put themselves up into victory lane. And we'll find out who's going to be able to get the dub here in just a little bit, as we'll be right back here in just a few more moments.
Rubber burning engine screaming, it's a madhouse. Hypershift racing, every driver wild and riled out. Peacemaker broadcast, a crowd tuned in tight, watching steel beasts fight under stadium lights. Pedal to the floor, we ain't pumping no brakes. Speed demons in the zone, leaving fire in their wake. On the edge of chaos, ain't no room to fake. Peacemaker screens lit for the glory we take. Tires spinning rhythm, a dangerous ballet. Hypershift gladiators in an asphalt ballet. Drafting on the curves, it's a calculated gamble. One wrong move leaves your dreams dismantled. Crowd roaring, engines roaring, echoes break the sky. Broadcast live for the legends who never fear to fly. Checker flags beckon, it's the road we obey. Adrenaline profits, in the fast lane we stay. Pedal to the floor, we ain't pumping no brakes. Speed demons in the zone, leaving fire in their wake. On the edge of chaos, ain't no room to fake. Peacemaker screens lit for the glory we take. Pedal to the floor, we ain't pumping no brakes. Speed demons in the zone, leaving fire in their wake. On the edge of chaos, ain't no room to fake. Peacemaker screens lit for the glory we take. Time spinning rhythm, a tempo, the glory we take. Time spinning rhythm, a tempo, the glory we take. Tire spinning rhythm, a dangerous ballet. Hypershift gladiators in an asphalt ballet. Drafted on the curves, it's a calculated gamble. One wrong move leaves your dreams dismantled. Crowd roaring, engines roaring, echoes break the sky. Broadcast live for the legends who never fear to fly. Checker flags beckon, it's the road we obey. Adrenaline profits, in the fast lane we stay. Pistons pump like heartbeats, it's mechanical insanity. Hypershift warriors bending physics with calamity. Peacemaker feeds a frenzy to every fan's light. When the lead's in the zone, it's a glorious fight. Pedal to the floor, we ain't pumping no brakes. Speed demons in the zone, leaving fire in their wake. On the edge of chaos, ain't no room to fake. Peacemaker screens lit for the glory we take. Time spinning rhythm, a tempo, the glory we take. Time spinning rhythm, a tempo.
Alrighty, here we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, ready to go back to green flag racing here in this one. Out in front, it is the 77 of Dalton Wicker, as Wicker continues to hang on to the race lead, looking for another big restart, looking to try to keep all these drivers back there at bay. As down through the Geico restart zone, here we go, back to battle here at the beautiful Charlotte Motor Speedway. As the sun is starting to set, the lights are starting to get turned on here in this beautiful race here this evening. It's Dalton Wicker who's out in front, continuing to lead the way. Here is a great restart there for the 77 ride, able to open up a quick lead between himself and Al Likens, and that 57 of Brian Fine. As Fine trying to hold on to position number 2. Hendry right there in that 4th spot on the racetrack. There we see Corey Dank in position number 5 here as he battles door to door with that 54 for that 5th position out there on the speedway. Is all these drivers, man, they are not backing down. They are not giving up. They're not giving an inch out there on the speedway. They continue to fight here for guts, for glory, for the win here in the Wounded Warrior Racing, Wounded Warrior Project 250 here this evening. As Gage Wenzel right there in position number 6. A lot of these drivers having a bit more of a tougher time trying to navigate themselves away through the field here, as they are definitely kind of a little bit more hung up, a little bit more dried out there, and just trying to find that extra little bit of gear, that extra little bit of speed that they've been looking for to try to put themselves up and into what could be the winning position here this evening. And for a lot of these drivers, it's been no easy task out there on the racetrack. It's been a lot of hard-fought battles. It's been a lot of back and forth, and just trying to navigate your way through some of the action out there is a lot easier said than done, as it's been a tough fight. It's been a tough battle, and for a few of these other drivers still running into issues a little deeper in the field, as we do see Anthony Ludy going around. Same with Dylan Picklesheimer, and the caution flag will come back out. Caution flag back out there onto the speedway as Dylan Picklesheimer. We did see James Hudson, Anthony Ludy all running into some issues right here. Let's take a look back at the number 2 in the 95 ride out there on the speedway, as they're rolling right here together, door to door. Let's see a little contact right there. Yeah, Hudson and the 95, they make contact. Unfortunately, Hudson comes back up the speedway, absolutely clips that number. I do believe that is the 48 ride of JJ Moore right here. JJ really nowhere for him to go, gets clipped. Heavy contact there for him up into the outside fence. That's where you see Dylan Picklesheimer come in there. Picklesheimer slams into that 48 ride, shoving him even farther into the outside fence, and the Monster Energy ride goes for a ride down into the infield. That is definitely not a spot you want to be out there on the speedway, as we will get ready to stack them up, rack them up, ready to try this one all over again here this evening, as this will be another big restart for drivers to try to navigate their way up and towards the front of the field here in this one. So they will get ready to go back to battle. Drivers will have that opportunity to either take themselves back down pit side, try to get some extra fuel and tires out there on the speedway to see if they can try and put themselves into a better spot here this evening, as it's definitely what they're going to be doing. They're definitely going to be looking to try to get these extra little bit of fuel and tires out there on the racetrack, hoping that they can get the upper edge, the upper hand here on a lot of these other competitors out there on the racetrack. As here we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, just a few moments away, we will go back to green flag racing out there on the racetrack. And woo, doggy, this is going to be a lot of fun. This is going to be very, very interesting. This is going to be a great time and some great racing here this evening, man. These guys are going to put on a heck of a show for us, man. This is going to be a lot of fun to see these guys really just duke it out, go to battle, and see who can put themselves up and into the winner's circle here in this one. Alrighty, as Dalton Wicker is going to elect to stay out on the racetrack here. He is not going to come down pit side, so he's going to stay out there on the speedway, not coming down pit road there for the number 77 machine. And nothing wrong with that. You can always try to just keep yourself out there and keep yourself pointed in the right direction and hoping to try to hang on to it. But when there are drivers back there that have some really fresh tires on their race cars, it's going to be very, very tough to try to hold them off, hold them back there at bay. And it'll be fun to see what they can do and how they're going to be able to navigate their way up towards the front of the pack here later this evening. As Wicker, Brian Fine, Justin Hendry, Corey Denk, Brad Fulham, the 18 rider Michael Carter, they did not come down pit road. They've been down pit road since lap number, I do believe, 92 on the racetrack. For the number 51 of Zach Wilson, he was down pit road there on lap 102, so he's got a little bit newer tires than the drivers up in front of him. Kent Mueller was down pit road on lap 92 as well, and from that point on, everyone else has been down pit road since the last caution flag there, and coming down pit road on lap 109. So a lot of good fresh tires for a lot of these drivers. A lot of these cats having those extra tires in and on their cars gonna definitely help try to navigate their way towards the front here in this one. We'll wait and see how this one plays out, because the fresh tires, a lot of times we see them making even more mistakes than the drivers with the older tires. As the drivers with the older tires, they're just mostly just trying to hang on to their cars, trying to keep them kind of up and out of the way and hoping that they don't get ran over. And for a lot of times, that's exactly what happens. Unfortunately, a lot of them just have nowhere to go, and then they end up just getting kind of ran over out there on the racetrack. And that's definitely not what you want to see here this evening, as Wicker getting ready for this big restart here with about 57 laps of racing action left to go here in this one, man. About 57 laps left here this afternoon, and these drivers, man, that's a lot of time. That's a lot of issues, a lot of mistakes that can happen out there on the speedway in a quick hurry. So see how this one kind of plays out. Who's going to be able to be in the right place at the right time and make the right calls and put themselves into the right positions here this evening. As Wicker, Fine, 1 and 2 down through the Geico restart zone, ready to see that green flag fly here once again this afternoon. As Dalton Wicker sees that green flag fly, he's quickly onto the loud pedal and looking to try to pull away from everybody else. Justin Hendry there in second with Brian Fine, Corey Denk, and Michael Carter. Our top five quickly going a little bit more single file as they're door to door back there behind them. The old tires, the fresh tires, who will come out on top as they all battle and try to race their way to the front of the field here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. As Wicker continues to hang on to the race lead, but it may not be for long, as here comes that number 54 of Justin Hendry. Hendry to the outside, battling door to door there with that number 77. But down low, Dalton able to get a great run through 1 and 2, and he will keep himself at the front of the field here in this one. So not giving up on it yet in this race, as down and in front is that 77. He's been out front for a majority of this race, as Brian Fine, Justin Hendry all right there, ready to keep on battling, keep on racing their way here to the point this afternoon, as we'll see who can put themselves up and into victory lane here today. As, man, this is going to be a tight fight all the way down to the end. A lot of different driving styles, a lot of different drivers trying to put themselves into winning situations and winning battles out there on the speedway, and it could come down to a bit of a crazy race here this evening on who can put themselves up and into victory lane. As, woo, doggy, these guys putting on a show for us. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you guys are enjoying the racing action here today. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that follow and subscribe button as Wicker just laid down the quickest lap of this race. So even with the older tires, this 77 ride is still finding a ton of speed in behind the wheel of that car as he just laid down the quickest lap of this race. Quickest lap out there from any one of these drivers back behind him. Even with the fresh tires on some of these other cats, this number 77 continues to find the speed, has that fresh air, and as the sun continues to set, we'll continue to see quicker and quicker lap times being laid down out there on the speedway. So for right now, Dalton Wicker, the fastest car out there, he's trying to hang on to it, hoping to stay that way, but it doesn't stay for very long. Is now Chris Zofeld in the 11 machine, now up and into the top spot here. The quickest lap time out there on the racetrack, a 29:51, and now he has the quick time out there on the speedway. As Wicker out in front though, that number 77 ride sitting pretty here in this one. Brian Fine right there on his back bumper with Justin Hendry back there in position number 3. Kent Mueller having a heck of a run here today, even after getting tied up in one of those incidences early on. The 8 ride now finds himself in position number 4 and looking for more. Michael Carter there in 5th with Al Likens, Corey Yank, Gage Wenzel, and Brad Fulham battling door to door here for the 8th position. Jonathan Cogswell right there hanging on to our top 10 as he's got the 99 of Tyler Chronister there to his outside with Zach Wilson. Drew King there in 13th. Chris Zofeld back in 14th with Anthony Ludi. They're rounding out our top 15 on the racetrack. Chase Abel in the Noble American number 7 right there in 16th with Darrell Johnson, James Hudson, and Dylan Picklesheimer rounding out our top 19 here on the racetrack with Jeremiah Nelson still a couple laps down back in 20th with Adam Bounton a few laps down once again in the 94 ride. He's back in 21st. J.J. Moore, after getting tied up in that last caution flag and getting a ton of damage on the 48 ride, has that W Energy machine down pit side here and unfortunately off of the racetrack as of right now. Scott Scheib, he's back out there after going a bunch of laps down out there on the speedway. He's about 10, 11, maybe even 12 laps down out there on the speedway. Max Koss, unfortunately, looks like he's taking his car down and off of the racetrack. Same with Michael Sheffield. So Sheffield and Koss both done and out of this race as we continue to battle up here at the front of the field and around the racetrack here at the beautiful Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's Dalton Wicker who continues to hang on to the race lead even with those couple caution flags out there on the speedway. These guys continue just to keep on battling, elbows up, racing out there on the speedway, and this time by the start finish line we will see about 47 laps left to go here in this race. 47 laps, so racing action left here this evening. We're going to jump into another very quick Peacemaker Gaming crank it up here as I'm going to take a quick break to go get a drink, and we'll be back here to battle for the rest of this race. action, and again we see some green flag pit stops underway out there on the speedway. Drivers already making their what could be final pit stop of the day here this evening. So different drivers on different strategies, as right now it's Gage Wenzel out in front. Wenzel leads this race here in this one and continuing to look to try to lay down some great lap times, hoping that when he comes back in on the racetrack, if he's going to make an additional pit stop here today, that he'll have the better tires and can just find his way around everybody and race his way up to the front of the field, as we only have 26 laps left to go here in the Wounded Warrior Project 250 here in the Hypershift Racing League. Is out in front. Gage Wenzel continuing to lead this race. Wenzel out in front, excuse me, there as we keep on battling. We do see Al Likens right there with him. Now we saw these two duking it out there in that first run that we had as well. We saw Wenzel able to jump up, take that race lead after 40 laps of green flag racing. Seemed like that car was really coming to life, but even after that, we saw Al Likens drive around the 36, make that pass and seal the race lead away from Wenzel. So it seems like these two definitely seem to have this long run strategy kind of under wraps, and definitely seem to run very, very strong laps and very quick laps out there later in the run compared to everybody else. Now, for a lot of these other drivers that have already been down pit side, like Zach Wilson, who came down pit road on lap number 131. Corey Dank was down pit road 134. Dalton Wicker there on 135. And then they continue to keep on jumping around right there all the way to Anthony Ludi, who was down pit road on lap 138. Now, for these drivers, that's going to give them about a 30-35 lap run towards the end of this race, where tires can really start to fall off. They could be struggling quite a bit out there compared to drivers that are waiting a little bit longer. When you look up here, we do see Kent Mueller just heading down pit road here in this one on about lap 143. So he's going to have a lot better tires than those other cats like Zach Wilson, Corey Dank. He's going to have that 10-15 lap better tires, especially with Chris Zofil now just coming down pit side. There's only really about 6 or 7 drivers left to come down pit road for this final pit stop of the evening. Al Likens now working his way around Gage Wenzel, though, kind of virtually like we saw in that first run as well. The 9 ride able to race his way around the 36, and now both drivers heading down pit road. Likens and the 36 of Gage Wenzel both head down pit side. That's going to bring Chase Abel, Tyler Chronister, Jonathan Cogswell all down pit side here with them. Drew King, the only one to stay out here and continue to keep on rolling at the front of the field. So Drew King will take that race lead away as the Wounded Warrior Project number 34 ride, now our race leader out there on the speedway. Zach Wilson, he is still back in position number 7, but as they round corner number 3 and 4, these other drivers still down pit road, just rolling back out. Gage Wenzel going to come out quite a bit ahead of Al Likens here. A little bit slower of a pit stop there for Al Likens, and unfortunately for the 9 ride, he's going to roll out in position number 8 here onto the speedway. And as out in front, we do see Wilson. He's able to kind of slide into this top spot, but he is battling door to door here with Corey Dank. This could be the battle for the race lead here, as Drew King yet to come down pit side. But as King does come down pit road, this could be the fight for the front of the field. You do see a little bit of right front damage on that 51 ride of Mr. Zach Wilson, and that could be affecting his car, his handling just enough where he can't really hang on and hold off that 17 ride. And now here comes Dalton Wicker as well. As what a show here for the Tiny Toes teammates out there on the racetrack. Wicker has led a ton of laps here this evening. Corey D has looked very, very strong, has kept this car up towards the front of the field here, and now potentially going to be our race leader as this pit cycle kind of fades its way through. But a little farther back behind them, the fresher tires when you look back at drivers like Gage Wenzel, who is down pit road about 10 laps or better after these guys. He's back there in position number 6. Now he is about 3 to 4 seconds behind Corey Dank and Zach Wilson, Dalton Wicker, so he's got a bunch of time to have to try to make up, to try to hunt these guys down, but he should have the much better tire than all of them out there on the racetrack as well. So he can push it a little bit harder, try to roll a little bit stronger here and try to use those tires to his advantage to gain that track position back and then have the better tires to just try to roll right on around these guys and maybe put himself up and in to victory lane. Now, when we did see Gage Wetzel come down pit road here, he came down pit side. He came down almost door-to-door with Al Likens. Likens was actually able to take that race lead away from him and go in first down into pit lane. Unfortunately there for Al Likens, an iron ride with a lot slower lap time there and a lot slower pit stop. And unfortunately for Al Likens, he did not come out of the pits with that 36. He came in with the 36, did not come out of pit road with the 36, and he now finds himself back in position number 11 on the racetrack here, and he's about 5 seconds behind Gage Wetzel there. So that one simple mistake, that one slip up down pit road cost him 5 seconds out there on the racetrack, and now that is a large distance here on the Speedway. 5 seconds back, that is tough. That is going to be very, very hard for him to try to make that back up, especially with the two of them being on virtually the same tire strategy out there on the Speedway. So it's going to be tough for him to try to find his way back to that 36 run, but still has better tires than a lot of the drivers here in front of him. It's Corey Dank, though. Corey out in front, continue to lead this race. Dalton Wicker, his teammate, now into second is Brian Fine there in third, and Zach Wilson slides all the way back into position number 4. Now Wilson going to run into some more problems. Now down through the infield there in that road number 51 ride. Obviously that right front damage that he has gotten on that car definitely affecting the handling of this car, and unfortunately he's sliding farther and farther back. Now back into position number 4, and quickly see that 36 of Gage Wetzel. Wetzel right there catching up to his back bumper, looking to try to make that move and put himself into this hunt for the top 4 here this evening, as here he goes right down low, gonna make quick and easy work of Zach Wilson, and Wilson will fall back into position number 5. And for Gage Wetzel, he'll look to continue to keep on hunting down our race leaders as he rolled back in onto the racetrack and got back up to speed. It was about 3.8 seconds, something like that. It was a bunch bigger of a gap between himself and Corey Dank. That gap is now only about 2 seconds, 2.2 seconds exactly between Gage Wetzel and Corey D out there on the Speedway. And if these guys start battling for the race lead late in this race, it's going to reel that 36 of Gage Wetzel in that much quicker, as Wetzel looking like he could be that car to beat here this evening. He's got the tire strategy, he's got the fast race car. Now he just needs the track position and the ability to make these passes to potentially put himself up and in to victory lane here this evening. As Corey Dank out in front, the Gary Sinise Foundation number 17 ride out in front with his teammate right behind him there. The Tiny Toes rides rolling first and second out on the racetrack. They got about half a second between themselves and our third place driver Brian Fine, as Fine rolls there in position number 3. But quickly you see this 36 of Gage Wetzel. He is catching up to them in a quick hurry here. He is not too far away. You see that gap out there on the racetrack. So the two white, red, and blue cars there at the front, they're down through quarter number 4 right now and down the front straightaway. That's our first and second place drivers, Corey Dank and Dalton Wicker. There you see the pass right there is Gage Wetzel going to make quick work of the Mac ride. The 57 of Brian Fine will fall back into position number 4, and the 36 of Gage Wetzel now into third, and he is quickly closing the gap here on the teammates up in front of him. As man, oh man, he's a man on a mission, and with those better tires, he is making it look easy out there on the Speedway. As Dalton Wicker looking to try to work himself around the 17 ride, and he will. So Wicker back out in front, but now both these drivers, they can see that 36. He is there. He is right into the fight as the 45 of Dylan Picklesheimer. Unfortunately for Picklesheimer, he does go a lap down out there on the racetrack. Tough break there for the 45 ride. Dylan Picklesheimer, Jeremiah Nelson, Adam Boughton, James Hudson. A lot of these drivers having some tough luck here this evening at our longest race of the year here at Charlotte Motor Speedway for our Memorial Day race out there on those speedways. There you go. You see the 36 of Wetzel able to make the move, find himself away down low and underneath of the 17. Looks like he will make that pass in up and into second. So Wetzel, now with about 10 laps left to go in this race, has only a car length between him and our race leader, Dalton Wicker. Now Wicker throwing some big blocks down the back straightaway, trying to kill that momentum for the 36, but there's not a whole lot he can do. He's got about 10 lap older tires, and he's just trying to hang on himself, and there goes the 36. Gage Wenzel back out in front. Wenzel takes that race lead back away, so Wenzel now leads this race, and there's the caution flag. Caution flag will be displayed. Oh, brother. This just adds another layer to it, ladies and gentlemen. This just makes things that much more interesting late in this race with the caution flag coming back out here in this one as Chris Zofeld going to run into some problems here. Let's take a look back and see what happens to the 11 right as Zofeld in the 8 machine of Kent Mueller. Battling here and just looks like contact. We saw that early in the race as well. Just contact down that back straightaway. One driver trying to get into the corner a little bit deeper than somebody else, and unfortunately they just run into each other. They run out of room, and the mega ride unfortunately goes for a mega spin down into corner number 3 here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. So let's take a look right here. It doesn't look like the 11 really kind of comes down. The 8 kind of comes up, just both trying to get different angles into the corner. Unfortunately, it just doesn't work out, and right into that left rear quarter panel, wrong place, wrong time, and heavy contact right here. Watch Zofeld. Zofeld up into the wall. The 8 right also takes the outside fence, but not as hard as this number 11 machine. Unfortunately for Zofeld, that's going to be a lot of heavy, extensive damage that he's going to have to try to get repaired as he'll look to continue to keep on racing, keep on battling. And now here it is. It is decision time. Drivers electing to come down pit side. Other drivers not coming down pit road, and they're going to be led by Dalton Wicker. So Wicker down pit road. Corey Dent going to go with them. Brian Fine, Justin Hendry, Zach Wilson, Michael Carter, Kent Mueller, Jonathan Cogswell, Brad Fulham, Drew King, all coming down pit side here to make this pit stop as Gage Wenzel going to stay out here. So Wenzel going to elect to choose the track position over the new tires as Anthony Aludi, Al Likens, Tyler Chronister, Daryl Johnson, Chase Abel, and Chris Zofeld all going to stay out on the speedway. They're all going to stay rolling out there on the racetrack. And now everyone else that just threw those fresh tires on, got that extra fuel, they're going to roll out onto the racetrack here. It looks like Carter will get lined up in about the 8th position here for this restart. So about 8th on back, has those fresher tires and fuel and everything else, and they got a few laps to try to navigate their way to the front of the field. And now this is really where we're going to see the potential of cautions breeding cautions out there on the racetrack. Is a little bit of contact here, a little bit of contact there, and a little bit faster of a car back behind you can run over you in a quick hurry, or vice versa. You can run over somebody in front of you if they're a couple of miles off the pace compared to yourself with the fresh tires. You got to plan for that. You got to try to build those gaps in runs. Elect to make those moves at the correct time out there on the racetrack without making any more issues. And for this 36 rider, Gage Wenzel just needs to find a really good restart right here and looking to continue to just pull away and hope to keep a gap between himself and anyone who jumps up into second, as we believe the lights are off the official iRacing pace car, and that means we're going to get about 5 laps left to go here. When we see that green flag fly, it will be a 5-lap shootout here in this one. And now that's binding more caution flags in NASCAR overtime here this evening for the Wounded Warrior Project 250 here from Charlotte Motor Speedway, powered by the Hypershift Racing League. As for these drivers, it's going to be a absolute dogfight right down to the checkered flag, as Sean O'Keefe says, get that checkered flag. 36 cheered on Mr. Wenzel out there on the speedway, as Gage going to be doing everything he can to try to keep these drivers back there at bay, and he's still got to worry about some of these other drivers. Even though they got a little older tires, maybe Anthony Ludi or Al Likens, Tyler Chronister, maybe one of them can find that extra gear and make the right calls, the right moves, and put themselves up and into the winner's circle here this evening. We'll have to keep an eye on it as nice and easy down and out of corner number 4. The pace car will make that hard left-hand turn, and we'll get ready to go back to green flag racing. Here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, it is going to be a 5-lap shootout here between Gage Wenzel and the rest of the field. Is down through the Geico restart zone here in our Memorial Day race, the Wounded Warrior Project 250. We are back to green flag racing. Wenzel with the restart he was looking for. Quickly slides up, clears that 95 right at Anthony Ludi. Ludi will slide back into second, but here comes Al Likens. Likens has the same amount of tire that's on his car as that 36 right. There's fresher tires back there behind them. They're beating and banging, they're battling, they're going down below that white and blue line down the back straightaways. Everyone throwing some big moves, some big sliders, and everyone trying to navigate their way to the front of the field. As Gage Wenzel nice and easy down through the triangle and back down across the line. We will see 4 more laps left to go here in this one. 4 more laps of racing action here from Charlotte Motor Speedway. And for Gage Wenzel, he's just trying to keep all these drivers back there at bay, but Al Likens, he showed some great speed all evening. Him and Wenzel both came down pit road on lap 145 for the 9 ride. Was down pit road a little bit longer, could not battle his way back up here, but using that track position while everyone else came down pit side, he's right back into the fight as the caution flag will come back out. We are headed to NASCAR overtime here this evening in the Wounded Warrior Project 250. As the caution flag will come back out, let's take a look back and see what happened. It's not too sure. It looks like maybe Daryl Johnson here in the 4 ride going to run into some issues. There it is. There's the contact. He goes down and around over the nose, I do believe, of the 17 of Corey Denk right there. Is Corey D just going to get a... Actually, no, it's Dalton Wicker in the 77, not the 17 ride, as it is the 77 machine. Just going to get a piece of them here. They're just battling hard. Some fresher tires here down low and just trying to get that big run. Unfortunately, Wicker comes up the track a little too far into that left rear quarter panel of that Busch Latte machine. The 4 ride is going to go for that loop-de-loop down the racetrack into the infield here and does make a little contact there with that infield wall. Doesn't look like too much damage though, and we'll keep on rolling, but that does put us under the caution flag, and that does line us up for a green-white checkered finish. So green-white checkered here in this one, and now for the drivers up here at the front of the field, the first one with the freshest tires that came down pit road during that last caution flag on lap number 160. It's Michael Carter. Carter sits back in position number 6. Corey Denk, Dalton Wicker, Justin Hendry, Brian Fine right there behind them here, all on the same tire, same strategy here. All came down pit road on lap 160. Now they still got about 5 drivers in front of them that they can maybe pass and maybe work themselves to the front of the field, but being only a green-white checkered finish, it's going to be very, very tough for somebody to try to find 5 spots out there on the racetrack. But we've seen stranger things happen here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and this may not be our only attempt at a green-white checkered here this evening. Now, if that was a green-white checkered on the last restart, we did get a lap and a half in, which would have gave us the white flag, and we would have already finished this race on the back straightaway. We would not have stopped it, but now it is that green-white checker. Now it is that awesome possibility of seeing that white flag fly and the carnage unfolding underneath and around our race leaders here this evening, and not getting the caution flag out there and racing just back down to the line, not giving up, not giving an inch out there on the speedway, and we're about to see how this all plays out. It's Gage Wenzel, Al Likens, Chase Abel, our top 3. Tyler Chronister and Anthony Ludi there in 5th. Now he's the last driver out there on the racetrack on this older paint strategy. Michael Carter, one of the first drivers there, is the first driver on the newer pit strategy coming down pit road on lap 160 as Corey D, Dalton Wicker, Justin Hendry, Brian Fine, Zach Wilson, Jonathan Cogswell, Brad Fulham, Drew King, Kent Mueller, all on that same strategy there, rounding out our top 15. Unfortunately for Chris Zofeld, he hasn't been down pit road since 144, rolls back there in 15th. Dylan Picklesheimer now being able to get some fresh tires onto his Monster Energy ride and back onto the lead lap. Unfortunately, he's back in position number 17 here, even though he's got the better tires than a lot of these drivers in front of him. Unfortunately, not having that track position, it's going to be very, very tough for him to try to jump up and gain a bunch of positions here in this short amount of time. as we will get ready to go back to battle. Gage Wenzel looking for a big restart here. Al Likens looking for a great restart as well. And look at Chase Abel, Tyler Chronister, Anthony Ludi, all these drivers still right there within striking distance of potentially putting themselves up and into victory lane here in this Memorial Day race in the Wounded Warrior Project 250 here this evening. As down through corner number 3 and 4, the pace car will make that hard left-hand turn, and our first attempt at NASCAR overtime is about to get underway as the 36 of Gage Wenzel down through the Geico restart zone. We'll see that green flag fly, and he gets another great launch, and quickly onto the lap pedal, opens up a couple car length lead down into corner number 1. And now Chase Abel down low looking to make the move around Al Likens. Likens trying to hang on to position number 2, but he'll slide back to 3rd. And now the noble American number 7 ride trying to hunt down our race leader as they shoot it down into corner number 3. Nice and easy out of corner number 4. Gage Wenzel just wants to see this white flag fly as they're wrecking back there behind him. White flag is out. No caution flag. They're wrecking back there across the start finish line, but this race is not going to end under another green-white checker. This is the only one we'll see today as Gage Wenzel leads us for the final time to the back straightaway. He's trying to break that draft of the front nose of Chase Abel. Abel one more try down into corner number 3. Sends it in there deep, looking to hold that throttle down and try to hunt to the back bumper of Wenzel, but he can't get there as Gage Wenzel will pick up the checkered flag here in the Hypershift Racing League. The Wounded Warrior Project 250 will go to the 36 of Gage Wenzel as Wenzel captures the checkered flag in all of our hearts here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's a heartbreaker back behind him for drivers alike. Chase Abel, Al Likens, Tyler Chronister, and Brian Fine are top 5 out there on the racetrack, and the rest of our amazing talented drivers that finish out this field. Only one driver though can find their way up and into victory lane, and here today it was his race. It was the Tom's Tasty Taters and walleye fish sandwiches number 36 of Gage Wenzel's evening as he's able to capture this checkered flag and put himself up and into victory lane. A very deserving win, some great strategy, some great tires, and some great racing out there from Wenzel from the drop of the green flag right down to the checkered flag, and he's able to burn down the house here in Charlotte. As ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here for our race winner in that 36 ride. Man, what a heck of a run. What a drive and performance there for Gage Wenzel here today. Chase Abel there in second, and Al Likens rounding out our top 3. As let's take a quick look back and see the contact and the almost caution flag down here at the white flag, as there was a lot of beating and banging. There was a lot of drivers that all of a sudden got tied up and turned around right here as they were a little 3 wide out of corner number 4, coming back down to the white flag. Ludi in the middle unfortunately washes up the track into the 77 ride of Dalton Winker. They come down, they collect that 54 of Justin Hendry. Hendry down through the infield. There goes the Zach Wilson ride. They're still bouncing off each other. Everyone trying to get pointed back in the right direction. Unfortunately there for Corey D. Corey, all of a sudden, he gets into the back end of his teammate here as well. And, man, that's a tough break for both of those drivers, having such great runs in the Gary Sinise Foundation rides as the 77 of Waker leading a lot of laps here this evening. We saw Corey D out in front as well. They both get tied up here in this last lap chaos as there's the contact between teammates. The 8 ride ends up giving a shove to the 17 as Waker up into the outside fence. The 17 down through the infield. Same with the 54 ride. And unfortunately for those guys, definitely not the runs that they were hoping for here this evening. And for Dylan Picklesheimer, able to come home with the 12th place finish. Man, that's a heck of a run there for that number 45 as he was able to just drive right on through some of that carnage. As here we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we'll get ready to pull our race winner up and into the broadcast booth here this evening for some post-race interviews. Hey Gage, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Do you get a copy?
Yes, sir.
Gage, man, what a run, what a drive. Take us back through this one, man, as you're able to navigate and find your way a few times up here to the front of the field, as it seemed like this car definitely very, very strong on the longer runs here this evening. But late in this race, you had to put that throttle down and put yourself into a position to be able to, keep on rolling these short run speeds and continue to keep these guys back there at bay on some of these late race caution flags.
Yeah, car was really good on the long run. I just really emphasized that because I felt like in practice when I was practicing, this place just chews up the right front. So I think me or Al were probably the best two on long run, and then the more night it became, the better it was. I took 2 tires that pit cycle, and as you saw, I was boogieing. I didn't want a yellow to come out, and you're right. Still has some good pace at the end. So all in all, a complete day, and I drove through the field like what, 2 times?
Yeah, at least 2, 3, maybe even 4 times there, working yourself, navigating yourself up and through the traffic, passing a lot of cars, and then putting yourself up here into checkered flag. An absolutely amazing race, and no better place to do it than what NASCAR calls as the home track race here, the America's Home for Racing here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and what is a very special race. Know that this is, the Memorial Day race and everything else, and one that's, powered by the Wounded Warrior Project, man. It's got to feel very, very special to win this one, especially knowing it's the longest race of the season as well.
Yeah, I think the longer part of it plays into my strong suits. But you're right. The Memorial Day, I have my great grandpa, Lester Richard Wenzel on here, and my great uncle, Alvin F. Copeland. They fought in World War II, and that was really cool to have them on the car because, that's really showing something with my family and my lineage. But yeah, it was so fun. I was pumped. Probably the most pumped I've been all season to win, because that one felt good. I don't think I did anything wrong tonight, and I executed with good pit calls for once. So I'm really ecstatic about this.
Absolutely, it all comes together here in this one as you're able to put yourself up into victory lane. But take us through some of those late race restarts, man. How nervous were you seeing that there was only, about 5, 6 of you guys out there on those older tires and not coming down pit road there at that caution flag around lap 158, 159 there, and seeing all these other drivers with the, better tires and more fuel and everything else back there behind you, trying to navigate their way through that slower traffic and trying to chase you down out there on the speedway, man. What was kind of going through your mind there during those caution flags and just seeing them back there right in tow?
Yeah. Well, when I saw, because at first my scoring pylon showed there was 5 cars out, and then I'm like, that's fine. And then there was a few more guys, so I was like, I wasn't worried about them catching us. They would have needed like Kansas level wide of a track. This track's just not wide enough to make your way to the front so fast. And the car I was worried about was Al, because Al was really quick all night. And he had 4 tires. So that was kind of my thing, just make Al have bad restarts, and it ended up working out. Anthony, that one first restart, just the top did not launch. So I almost picked the top, so I'm glad I didn't. But yeah, all in all, really good, and I'm so happy. Like it's good to win, obviously, but this one just was a long, slow burner, and it felt like I was the best, but it was awesome.
Absolutely. Well, it was an awesome performance out there on the racetrack. Gage, who would you like to thank for such a heck of a run out there on the racetrack?
I got to thank the great men on my car for fighting for our country, and my great uncle's case dying for it. Got to thank Tom's Tasty Taters and their amazing car. This thing looks sharp this week. I think it's the best paint scheme out here. I was gushing over it. Thank you for my family, my girlfriend, everyone who comes and watches these. 213 Simware, everyone in the league puts on a pretty good show, and you up here in the booth and you got above. Thank you.
Absolutely, brother. Well, Gage, great run, great drive. Congratulations on the checkered flag, and we can't wait to see you back out there next Thursday and potentially right back up here in victory lane.
Thank you. I hope so too.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our race winner, Gage Wenzel, as Wenzel picks up the checkered flag here in this one. Now we'll get ready to pull in our second place finisher, the number 7 rider, Chase Abel. Abel coming in with a great run and great finish here in this one. Let's pull Chase up into the broadcast booth. Hey, Chase, it's Aaron up here, the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. They get a copy?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Chase, brother, what a run, what a drive for you here in this one, man, as you're able to navigate your way late in this race, a little bit of different pitch strategy, and all of a sudden you find yourself duking it out here inside the top 5, making a couple of moves there late in the race, and able to steal position number 2 away from Al Likens, and almost getting a shot there, and trying to take this checkered flag away from Gage Wenzel, but you settle in for a solid second place run here this evening, man. Take us back through this race, and what's going through your mind right now as you sit up here on the podium?
First off, it feels great. I had a very unfortunate race at Auto Club, I think. That was just unfortunate. But this race, I thought it was going the same way. I had 2 minutes of damage, got it repaired. Shout out to my teammates for letting me know when the pace car was coming around so I could get that dealt with. And then out of nowhere, man, I just found myself right back up there. I don't know how it happened. I was just out there driving again.
Absolutely. Well, you were driving your butt off there, duking it out here late in this race, man. Take us back through a couple of those late race restarts as you were digging out there on the speedway, man. Tough battle there between you and Al and Tyler Chronister. You throw in that 95 right of Anthony Ludi, then all these drivers with the fresher tires right there nipping at your guys' heels, trying to navigate their way up to the front of the pack.
Yeah, it was intimidating with them with fresh tires lining up right behind us. When that caution came out, I was kind of bummed because I was pretty happy with where we were going to finish. And then that caution comes out, and then the guys are on fresh tires right behind us. That last restart, I tried to time it as best I could with Gage. I got lucky. I stuck it to the bottom on that turn 1 and 2 and just kind of drove away somehow, and I just couldn't get my shot at Gage there at the end. He's too quick.
Yeah, he was definitely a rocket ship here this evening, but man, what a run for yourself as you're able to park that noble American number 7 ride up here onto the podium here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Chase, who'd you like to thank, man, for such a great run and strong performance out there on the racetrack?
I got to thank Big T. That's my boy right there. I got to thank Big FR, Kiki, Big TA, and Chris Ryan. Christoph and Chun-Li.
Beauty. Well, Chase, great run, great drive here this evening, brother. Hopefully many more trips for yourself up here into the booth, and hopefully one of these nights up and into victory lane, man, as another great run, another great performance for you, man. Hopefully this momentum continues to have you up here into the broadcast booth post-race.
Yes, sir.
Beauty, enjoy the rest of your night.
You too.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our second place finisher, Chase Abel. As Abel able to come home here in position number 2. Solid run and solid drive there for that 7 machine as we'll get ready now to pull in our third place driver, that number 9 right of Al Likens. Likens coming home in position number 3. Let's pull him up here into the booth. Hey, Al, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Did you get a copy?
I do.
Now, man, another strong run, another great race here for you, man. But this one might sting a little bit more, man. Seemed like you had a very, very fast hot rod. Unfortunately, just did not have enough time to try to go after that 36 of Gage Wenzel again out there on the speedway, even with these late race caution flags, and just could not take advantage of those 4 fresh tires there and trying to battle up there and pass that 36 ride. He was only on that 2-tire strategy after the green flag pit stops down on lap 145.
Yeah, he's definitely fast, and I missed time that restart on the last one and gave it away. But I don't know if I could have got around him or not. He definitely had the speed.
He definitely had some speed, man. It seemed like you two were definitely class of the few when it came to these long green flag runs, as we saw both of you kind of navigate yourselves up into the top spot here throughout those long green flag runs. Seemed like Gaines usually got there a little bit before you, but after about that, 38, 40 laps, all of a sudden we see you just roll into the picture and make yourself a way around him. And there late in this race, we thought the same situation was maybe going to play out, especially seeing you kind of line up back behind him there there for one of those restarts and knowing that you had those 2 fresh tires compared to your 4 fresh tires out there. Even though there was guys that came back down pit road back behind you, it seemed like they were definitely kind of out of the picture there, unless if they could really navigate their way through the traffic quickly. But weren't too far off on tire strategy there, so they couldn't really gain too much. It was kind of down to the 5 or 6 of you that stayed out there on the racetrack, and unfortunately just could not get that run that you needed to try to either get underneath of him or try to get up to his outside and battle door to door with him here in those closing laps.
Yeah, that last caution that came in, it was going to be interesting because about 2 laps my car really came to life. I was like, no, I didn't need that caution, but it happened. I'm happy with 3rd place, though. He deserved that win. I mean, he had a really fast car, but on long runs where I really shined, I didn't have it on the short run, but long run, it would drive really good compared to everybody else.
Absolutely. Long run was definitely your forte here this evening as you park that beautiful number 9 right up here onto the podium. Al, who would you like to thank again here this evening for such a great run and strong performance out there on the racetrack?
First, I'd like to thank you for what you do in the league, for having us and putting on a good show every week. Obviously, my teammates. And, it's Memorial Day weekend. I'd like to say thanks to all the people that serve the country, especially, we're got some teammates, Darrell, he served the country, and I thank him. And we got a guy that ain't racing here, but he raced with another series, Fred Pennington. We like to thank him for serving the country. And whoever I'm leaving out, I don't mean to, but I like to thank all the vets.
Absolutely, man. Great shout out right there. Support the troops, and hopefully everyone has a very happy and fun Memorial Day weekend. Al, congratulations on the 3rd place finish here in this one, man. We can't wait to see you back out there on the racetrack next Thursday.
Thank you.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our 3rd place finisher, Al Likens. His Likens coming home there in position number 3. What a run and what a drive there for that number 9 ride here this evening, man. What a run, what a show, what a battle, lap after lap after lap here this evening for these drivers. But it was all Gage Wenzel when the dust settled here this evening. It was Wenzel who puts himself up and into checkered flag here this evening. Unfortunately, though, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that will bring a close to our racing action here this evening. We can't thank you guys enough for tuning in and showing the love here in this one. Everyone coming in with the likes, the comments, the shares. We appreciate each and every single one of you. Sean, I appreciate you tuning in, showing the love here as well. Says awesome job, Mr. Announcer up in the chat. I appreciate that, brother, and I appreciate everyone tuning in and showing the love and support here this evening. All the likes, the comments, the shares, every single follower and subscriber over here on the channel, man. We can't thank you guys enough for becoming part of the Peacemaker family, and it's not too late. If you're still watching, man, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button for us right now. Hit that thumbs up button, hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button. If you're watching over on YouTube, become a brand new subscriber there on the channel over on YouTube and become part of the family here on Peacemaker Gaming, as we'll be back in action again tomorrow night for some more racing action, and we can't wait to see you guys back up in the grandstands and cheering on our Friday night drivers for our Friday night series about to get underway again tomorrow evening. So we can't wait to see you guys back up here in the broadcast booth. But thank y'all for watching, thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll see y'all later. Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen. Peace and love.
Rubber burning engine screaming, it's a madhouse. Hypershift racing, every driver wild and riled out. Peacemaker broadcast, a crowd tuned in tight, watching steel beasts fight under stadium lights. Pedal to the floor, we ain't pumping no brakes. Speed demons in the zone, leaving fire in their wake. On the edge of chaos, ain't no room to fake. Peacemaker screens lit for the glory we take. Tires spinning rhythm, a dangerous ballet. Hypershift gladiators in an asphalt ballet. Drafting on the curves, it's a calculated gamble. One wrong move leaves your dreams dismantled. Crowd roaring, engines roaring, echoes break the sky. Broadcast live for the legends who never fear to fly. Checker flags beckon, it's the road we obey. Adrenaline profits, in the fast lane we stay. Pedal to the floor, we ain't pumping no brakes. Speed demons in the zone, leaving fire in their wake. On the edge of chaos, ain't no room to fake. Peacemaker screens lit for the glory we take. Pedal to the floor, we ain't pumping no brakes. Speed demons in the zone, leaving fire in their wake. On the edge of chaos, ain't no room to fake. Peacemaker screens lit for the glory we take. Time spinning rhythm, a tempo, the glory we take. Time spinning rhythm, a tempo, the glory we take. Tire spinning rhythm, a dangerous ballet. Hypershift gladiators in an asphalt ballet. Drafted on the curves, it's a calculated gamble. One wrong move leaves your dreams dismantled. Crowd roaring, engines roaring, echoes break the sky. Broadcast live for the legends who never fear to fly. Checker flags beckon, it's the road we obey. Adrenaline profits in the fast lane we stay. Pistons pump like heartbeats, it's mechanical insanity. Hypershift warriors bending physics with calamity. Peacemaker feeds a frenzy to every fan's delight. When the lead's in the zone, it's a glorious fight. Pedal to the floor, we ain't pumping no brakes. Speed demons in the zone, leaving fire in their wake. On the edge of chaos, ain't no room to fake. Peacemaker screens lit for the glory we take. Time spinning rhythm, a tempo, the glory we take. Time spinning rhythm, a tempo, the glory we take. Rubber burning, engine screaming, it's a madhouse. Hypershift racing, every driver wild and riled out. Peacemaker broadcast, a crowd tuned in tight, watching steel beasts fight under stadium lights. Pedal to the floor, we ain't pumping no brakes. Speed demons in the zone, leaving fire in their wake. On the edge of chaos, ain't no room to fake. Peacemaker screens lit for the glory we take. Tire spinning rhythm, a dangerous ballet. Hypershift gladiators in an asphalt ballet. Drafted on the curves, it's a calculated gamble. One wrong move leaves your dreams dismantled. Crowd roaring, engines roaring, echoes break the sky. Broadcast live for the legends who never fear to fly. Checker flags beckon, it's the road we obey. Adrenaline profits in the fast lane we stay. Pedal to the floor, we ain't pumping no brakes. Speed demons in the zone, leaving fire in their wake. On the edge of chaos, ain't no room to fake. Peacemaker screens lit for the glory we take. Pedal to the floor, we ain't pumping no brakes. Speed demons in the zone, leaving fire in their wake. On the edge of chaos, ain't no room to fake. Peacemaker screens lit for the glory we take. Time spinning rhythm, a tempo, the glory we take. Time spinning rhythm, a tempo, the glory we take. Tire spinning rhythm, a dangerous ballet. Hypershift gladiators in an asphalt ballet. Drafted on the curves, it's a calculated gamble. One wrong move leaves your dreams dismantled. Crowd roaring, engines roaring, echoes break the sky. Broadcast live for the legends who never fear to fly. Checker flags beckon, it's the road we obey. Adrenaline profits in the fast lane we stay. Pistons pump like heartbeats, it's mechanical insanity. Hypershift warriors bending physics with calamity. Peacemaker feeds a frenzy to every fan's delight. When the lead's in the zone, it's a glorious fist fight. Pedal to the floor, we ain't pumping no brakes. Speed demons in the zone, leaving fire in their wake. On the edge of chaos,